It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Pulse. We have 2 hours of a compelling discussions on the program this afternoon. This is Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. You're welcome. And coming up this exciting afternoon on the Pulse, President Akufo-Addo assures the international community of Ghana's unwavering commitment to upholding human rights, despite the recent passage of the Anti-LGBTQ bill.
I want to assure you that no such backsliding will be contemplated or occasioned.
We have details as the President says he awaits the verdict of the case currently pending at the Supreme Court on the Anti-LGBTQ bill. And we have the court's case. We have a copy of the writ I'll be sharing with you this afternoon on the Pulse. Also, Comfort North Teaching Hospital stretched to its limit. We bring you an exclusive interaction with the CEO, the Public Relations Officer of the hospital, on measures to rehabilitate the structure founded in 1954. And later in the bulletin, we cross over to the United States of America to bring you updates on Super Tuesday today. The stakes are high in Arlington amidst the hustle and bustle question looms about former President Donald Trump's potential nomination, whilst concerns about President Joe Biden's age lingers. My name is Elton Brobe, and it's a pleasure to be with you this exciting afternoon. The Pulse is live on DSTV channel 421, Gold TV 125 around the world at myjoyonline.com. You're also available on our social media handles, YouTube, Facebook, and of course X. You can leave your comments and questions on our handles. Now, we start off with this developing story, which is controversial in nature. And this afternoon, President Akufo-Addo has assured the international community of Ghana's unwavering commitment to upholding human rights, despite the recent passage of the Anti-LGBTQ Bill Plus. Addressing concerns during an engagement with the international community and diplomatic corps operating in Ghana, President Akufo-Addo emphasized Ghana's consistent adherence to the rule of law and respect for human rights throughout its history. The President clarified that the bill is currently facing a legal challenge at the Supreme Court, and therefore a decision will be reached after due process. No action will be taken by his government regarding the private members' bill that has been passed by Parliament.
I'm aware that last week's bipartisan passage by Parliament of the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill on a private member's motion has raised considerable anxieties in certain quarters of the diplomatic community and among some friends of Ghana, that she may be turning her back on her hitherto enviable, long-standing record on human rights observance and attachment to the rule of law. I want to assure you that no such backsliding will be contemplated or occasioned. I think it will serve little purpose to go at this stage into the details of the origin of this proposed law, which is yet to reach my desk. But suffice it to say that I have learned that today a challenge has been mounted in the Supreme Court by a concerned citizen to the constitutionality of the proposed legislation. In the circumstances, it would be as well for all of us to hold our hands and await the decision of the court before any action is taken. The operation of the institutions of the Ghanaian state will determine the future trajectory of the rule of law and human rights compliance in our country. Excellencies, as you all know, this year is an election year. On 7th December, the Ghanaian people will elect a new president and a new parliament. The term of the present parliament expires at the end of the year, and I'm in the last year of the permissible 8 years that a citizen can exercise the functions of president. The Akufo-Addo-led government is clear about its obligation and duty to ensure that the impending elections are conducted in an atmosphere of peace and security, in full transparency and respect for the electoral laws of our country. I am confident that the security agencies will be alive to their responsibilities and will ensure that the free will of the Ghanaian people in their choice of national leadership will be manifest. We cherish our reputation as a beacon of democracy on the African continent, and the forthcoming elections will reinforce this reputation.
Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund says it cannot comment on the anti-LGBTQ bill and its impact on Ghana's program funding. This was contained in an email response to Joy Business from Washington, D.C. And we have the response, excerpts of the response that came from the IMF. They say that diversity and inclusion are values that the IMF embraces. Our internal policies prohibit discrimination based on personal characteristics, including but not limited to gender expression or sexual orientation. Like institutions, diverse and inclusive economies flourish. We are watching recent developments in Ghana closely. We cannot comment on a bill that has not yet been signed into law and those economic and financial applications that we have yet to assess. And so this is the response we got from the International Monetary Fund when an email was sent to them that came from business, a Joy Business, and this is the response we got. They said that they are monitoring the situation and they will bring us up to speed when the bill is signed onto by President Akufo-Addo. But yesterday, as you heard the president say, that one of the reasons why he's unable to act on the bill, even though we must say that the bill has yet to leave Parliament and then head to the Jubilee House for the president to append his signature or otherwise to the bill. One of the reasons President Akufo-Addo gave when he met the diplomatic corps in Accra was the fact that a matter has been placed before the Supreme Court challenging some aspects of the bill passed by Parliament, and for that reason, he will not be in a position to advise on the way forward if the bill is presented to him. So is there really a case before the Supreme Court? Head of our legal affairs team, Richard Kwadwo-Nyarko, joins me in studio. Richard, President Akufo-Addo was quite clear on the reason why he's unable to comment any further on this bill, and he made reference to a case that is pending at the Supreme Court. Is there really a case pending?
Well, so Elton, you remember that yesterday we discussed that it is still a bill until assented to by the president, and so it is not law properly so called that when someone infringes upon it, I mean, the person might be sanctioned or anything. But today we have Richard Sky of CTFM going to court, a journalist going to court, and he's seeking several reliefs. Among the reliefs, he says that a declaration that upon the true and proper interpretation of Articles 33(5) of the Constitution 1992, and so he lists a host of other rights enshrined under Chapter 5 of the 1992 Constitution. One of them is Article 12(1), that is discrimination, that centers on discrimination, that persons of all race, of all manner of persons, they should not be discriminated against. He also cites Article 15(1). Article 15(1) also enshrines that people should be treated with dignity. It mentions Article 17. And so that is the first relief that is seeking, that upon true and proper interpretation of this one, there was some error. The next one is a declaration that a Speaker of Parliament contravened Article 108A(2) of the Constitution in the light of Article 29A, B, and C by admitting and allowing Parliament to proceed upon and pass the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2024 into law, as the same imposes a charge upon the Consolidated Fund or other public funds of Ghana. So you remember that one of the considerations that people have been talking about is that it's going to be a huge financial burden on our Consolidated Fund. The third one is that a declaration that Parliament exceeded its authority on Articles 1062 and 1082 in passing the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2024, as the same imposes a charge upon the Consolidated Fund. So the same financial thing is what one of the reliefs that they are seeking. The next one is the declaration that upon the true and proper interpretation of Articles 102 and 1041 of the Constitution, Parliament lacked the requisite quorum to pass. And you have been in Parliament for some time now. You've been covering Parliament. I mean, when they talk about the quorum, that they did not possess the requisite quorum to pass this one, what exactly do they mean?
Well, I mean, you need a certain number of MPs present to pass any bill, but that is premised on somebody raising the issue of quorum. If at the time the bill was under consideration and going to third reading, nobody raised the issue of quorum, I mean, they've done their duty.
Okay, so the next relief that you are seeking is a restraint on the Speaker of Parliament, preventing him from sending the bill to the President for the President to assent to. And so that is the sixth relief. And then the next one is an injunction barring any attempt to enforce the provision of this particular bill, particularly those criminalizing same-sex relationship and related advocacy efforts. And the last one, such further orders that the Supreme Court may deem fit.
So it's basically saying that the Supreme Court should stop President Akufo-Addo from assenting to the bill until the final determination of this case.
More or less, the Supreme Court should place some restrictions on the Speaker of Parliament, on Parliament, what Parliament has done, more or less to stay whatever they have done until this matter is determined.
All right, Richard Kwanyako, thank you very much. He's the head of our legal affairs desk here at Joy News. Now, we'll bring in some reaction. The NDC, they've been reacting to it. And let me bring in the NDC's communication officer, Mr. Sabijam, who is also a lawyer. So, Sami, you've been watching this space carefully. Now, President Akufo-Addo yesterday mentioned, for example, the reason why he will not be able to proceed with what Parliament may be asking him to do because of a legal challenge that has already begun its journey at the Supreme Court. What do you make of this? How does it, hinder the president from, undertaking what may be considered his constitutional role, even though I must admit that Parliament has yet to put a bill on his desk?
Well, what all these things, go to show is that President Akufo-Addo, his vice Alhaji Bawumia, and the entire ruling New Patriotic Party have never been committed to the passage or the enactment of this anti-LGBTQ law, which we are all talking about today. They fooled many, by their public stance on the matter, particularly in Parliament, when they created the impression that they were in support of the bill. But some of us knew all along that they were not being honest with their position and their stance on this matter of LGBTQI. Now, the events that have taken place since Parliament passed the bill have vindicated or confirmed the long-held position of some of us that President Akufo-Addo, Alhaji Bawumia, and the entire ruling New Patriotic Party are nothing but gay lobbyists. Look, the President yesterday, in his address to the nation and the international community, indicated that he is unable to assent to the bill, which has been passed by Parliament, because he has been reliably informed that a citizen of this country has filed an action in the Supreme Court challenging the constitutionality of the bill. But Elton, we know that the third action in the Supreme Court was filed only today. In fact, it was filed at 1 p.m. today, 5th March 2024. The President spoke yesterday on the 4th. He spoke at the time the bill, like he said, was not even before him because Parliament has not transmitted the bill to the President yet. So officially, the bill is not before the President. The President is not seized with the matter. Yet the President, in a haste to, I don't know how to put it, but in a haste to appease his paymasters, his gay lobbyist paymasters, decided to speak on the matter publicly by indicating that he was not going to give any assent to the bill because according to him, a suit had been filed in the Supreme Court. That was yesterday,
right,
the 4th of March, 2024. The third action was filed today at 1 p.m.
Maybe he was referring to another case that we may not be aware of.
You can check with your court correspondence. This is the only action that has been filed in the Supreme Court challenging the constitutionality of the bill that has been passed by Parliament. And as at the time the President was speaking yesterday, no such legal suit had been filed in the Supreme Court. Why would President Akufo-Addo lie like this?
Isn't it too premature to describe the action as lying? Because, I mean, until we check and very sure that this is the only case before the Supreme Court, we cannot be conclusive on that.
Also, who checks? I have checked. And that is why I can say on authority that the President lied.
We will verify that.
Correspondence. You have court correspondence. Multimedia is a big media house. Find out from your correspondence at the Supreme Court whether, as at yesterday, any action had been filed challenging the constitutionality of this bill we are talking about here. No such action had been filed. That is why no such action was reported by any media house in this country. And that is why any search you do today at the registry of the Supreme Court will show that no such action had been filed yesterday. So the President lied. And he lied because he needed a convenient excuse which will enable him refuse to ascend this bill, because he and his party, the ruling NPP, have never believed in the protection of our family values. They have never believed in prescribing acts of LGBTQ and the promotion of sin in this country. But they've been pretending and deceiving the Christian community, the Muslim community headed by the chief imam, our traditional authorities, and Ghanaians at large, as though they were interested and committed to the passage of this law. Today the scales are off. Their cup is full. Their sins have found them out. Ghanaians now know them for who they really are. A bunch of people who are committed to the promotion of gayism in our community and are not interested in the enactment of laws to check this nation-wrecking canker. That is what we are all scandalized about.
Sami, let me ask you a question, because you are a lawyer, and perhaps you can take the opportunity to educate us as well. Now, we've heard some legal position on this matter, and some say that because technically there is no law, even though Parliament has taken a position until the President gives his assent, we cannot say that there is a law existing that criminalizes the folks in the community that we are talking about, and therefore to go to court on that premise may be a misinformed position. I don't know what as a lawyer your reaction to this will be.
That borders on the doctrine. This question borders on the doctrine of rightness, which the Supreme Court, times without number, has pronounced on. And any first-year law student who has an appreciation of constitutional law, I will tell you that this matter clearly is not right for determination in the Supreme Court. But once the matter is sub judice, it wouldn't be proper for us to prejudice it. We will have to wait for the Supreme Court to make that determination. But for us...
And so nothing stopped the President from going ahead to sign. That is if today the clerk makes the correspondence to the Jubilee House.
No, you see, first of all, President Akufo-Addo is telling you that he is not going to ascend the bill. He told you that yesterday.
Until the court comes to determination.
Assent to the bill is because of a legal action that has been filed yesterday, which we now know to be false, and which clearly shows that the President is just not interested in the enactment of the law. That's number one. Number two, the mere filing of an action in the Supreme Court does not operate as an injunction against a person on whom a constitutional duty is conferred. A constitutional duty is conferred on the President to assent or otherwise to a bill passed by Parliament which is presented to him. No court in Ghana has injuncted President Akufo-Addo from doing so. As at yesterday, no court in Ghana had injuncted him. And in fact, there was no action pending before any court seeking to injunct him. It is only today that an action has been filed in the court seeking to injunct him. But that legal action, that suit, in and of itself does not constitute an injunction. And so the president is trying to find convenient excuses to allow him refuse to ascend the bill. That is it. Because there is no legal justification, legal injunction that prevents him from assenting to the bill. He is just not interested in doing so. And he's not alone in that. The Vice President, Alhaji Bawumia, is neck deep in this. And that is why all along he has never commented on this LGBTQ matter. We don't know his position as to whether or not he supports it, because he is a beneficiary of financing from the gay community. And so he is afraid to make his position known on the matter. Like the opposition leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has made his position clearly known, that as a Christian, he does not support the promotion of LGBTQI. You understand? Bawumia is neck deep in it. The ruling NPP, they are neck deep in this whole matter. So, you see, it is about time Ghanaians, came to the realization of the truth. The Christian community, the Christian Council, the Catholic Bishop Conference, the Pentecostal Council, the Muslim community headed by the Chief Imam, our traditional authorities who have been, supporting the sponsors of this bill, must come to the realization that the entire New Patriotic Party are against the enactment of this law, because they fully support and subscribe to LGBTQI.
What is the position?
Therefore, we as the people will have
what is the position of what is the position of the NDC's flag bearer? Since Parliament passed the bill, we've not heard him speak to it.
What must he say again? He has already told you that he is against LGBTQI and he supports the passage of a law to check the promotion of same in this country. That is his position on the matter.
All right.
Unlike Bawumia, who we don't know his position on this matter. But we really know what his true position is on the matter, because his silence is very, very loud. His silence is very, very audible. His silence shows that he's a beneficiary
of
gay financing and so on, as we have always known.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sami Jemfi is the communications officer with the NDC, and this is a developing story, and I'm sure that more reactions will come. But let me take you to Parliament, where the Minister Designate for Tourism, Andrew Ejapa-Mensah, has waded into the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, insisting the signing of the bill will not only have implications on Ghana's economy, but would also impact heavily on the tourism sector as well. He, however, asked that we can promote domestic tourism to make up for the difference.
Mr. Chairman, that's a difficult one. Because, our culture is our culture, ultimately. And so, if people want to experience our culture, it really shouldn't matter whether we are opposed to a certain lifestyle within our cultural setting. But it all comes down to how you promote Ghana and position ourselves within the law, that is, if His Excellency the President assents to it. Okay, so I know it's the most topical subject matter now. Indeed, yesterday I was having conversations with my brother and some friends of mine at home, and it came up what your response would be when this question is posed to you. But I still haven't figured out an answer. But all I can say is that it definitely will have an impact, one way or the other. Some people who believe that lifestyle should be allowed everywhere may find Ghana not an attractive place. Some people who believe in our culture would find Ghana an attractive place. And so it all comes down to how you market Ghana and what it is that we offer to the world. The listing that we have, that we are encouraging people to visit our country as opposed to others. And of course, like my good friend, Chief Whip on the minority side indicated, if you promote domestic tourism, that then helps you to deal with whatever shortfalls or issues that may arise from some lack of interest because of this law. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. In my region, that is the Ashanti region, one of the tourist attractions in the Ashanti region, I would say, is funerals. Funerals are one of the tourist attractions, and there are other cultural needs. You look at even cater weaving and everything. I'd like to find out from you whether you have
And that's the Minister Designate for Tourism, Andrew Ejapa Mesa, responding to the issue of the passage of the anti-LGBT bill and the implication it will have on the tourism sector. We'll bring you more in subsequent bulletins. This is the pause here on Joy News with me, Elton Brobin. Now let's move to the health sector, because founded in 1954, the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital, also known as G, is the second largest hospital in Ghana and the only tertiary health institution in the Ashanti region. The hospital also takes referral from the northern, northeast, Savannah, Bono East, Bono, Ahafo, Central, Western North, and other regions. Years of being stretched to its limit with no corresponding redevelopment have left the hospital sick. The hospital that is sick and in dire need of surgery. The management, with support from the Asantehene, launched the Heal Konfanoti project to raise $10 million to rehabilitate some structures of the hospital. And this afternoon, I'm joined by the head of public relations with the hospital, Mr. Kwame Frimpong. Adepoju, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And of course, I also have the chairman of the Heal Konfanoti project, Sami Adubache. Sami, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Elton.
And along the line, we'll be joined via Zoom by the CEO of the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital as we look at what really the issue is with Konfanoti and how best this project can help bring it to a level that can be described as, international. So that is our discussion this afternoon. If you are in Kumasi, you've used Konfanoti before, or you are on admission at the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital or a worker, you can send in your comments, your questions as we look at helping Konfanoti get to that standard. So let me start with you, Mr. Adu. So Heal Konfanoti, it means the hospital is sick. A teaching hospital that is sick. How sick is the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital?
Thank you very much, Elton, and greetings to your cherished audiences across the world. Konfanoti is sick and needs healing. Let me describe it in this way, that if today you have to go to the hospital to seek for treatment, and let's say you are admitted, let's say you went in with a foot injury or let's say surgery for your leg or something like that, you are likely to come back with malaria, which of course wasn't part of the reason why you went there. You
go to a hospital and come home with more sickness.
Yes, and it is not just because maybe, of course, of people may have a conception that maybe the hospital has not been much, or let's say, not taken care of. The point is that the hospital is very stressed. As you rightly said, it's been the referral point for 12 out of the 16 regions of Ghana. So it means that there's a lot of pressure on the hospital. So for 70 years of its operations, the hospital has not seen any major facelift. So obviously, within the space of these number of years, there will be pressure on the hospital, and obviously things will not be as it used to be before.
So what you are watching is also the state of Konfanoti Hospital now. This is a teaching hospital, the second largest in the country, and look at the state of the hospital. And you tell me if this can be described as a hospital. I'm sure if you're looking at it for the first time, you will not come to the conclusion that this is a hospital. You will be describing it in other words. But this is the state of the second largest hospital in Ghana, Konfanoti Teaching Hospital. Let me bring in Mr. Kwame Frimpong, the Public Relations Officer. So why have we allowed Konfanoti to deteriorate to this level?
1954. It commenced formal operations in 1955. So the structure is 70 years this year. And by next year, the hospital will be 70 years since it started operating. This is a hospital that was built for less than 500 beds. And we are now counting about 1,200. The same space, but the beds have increased. So the hospitals had a dual problem. Problem with age, because naturally, when you put up a structure for 70 years, if you even don't do anything at all to it, it will still deteriorate.
So in the last 70 years, there's not been any kind of rehabilitation?
There has never been any comprehensive renovation of the hospital, despite its constant use. I've told you about the numbers in terms of beds, the progression that we've recorded over the years. For 500, we are now heading around 1,200, 1,300. What has happened is that we've rather compressed the utilization of the space. So instead of an area where we will usually put a bed, we are now putting 2. If you're supposed to put 10 beds, we are now putting 20. And so because the hospital has not seen any expansion. So overutilization has also taken a very heavy toll. Ashanti region has been over the years one of the most populous regions. In fact, it was the leading or the most populous region in Ghana until the 2020 population census, when Greater Accra came at power. Now, Confronti has remained the only hospital all these years. All the programs that were intended to expand the infrastructure never succeeded. A typical example is the maternity children's block, 950 bed. For 47 years, we couldn't even finish it. Way back in 1976, they realized that the catchment area of the hospital was expanding and the clientele base was also growing, so there was a need to expand the facilities. Unfortunately, we never had that benefit. So the existing infrastructure, we've been compelled to use it for the same population that maybe twice the space that we are using now should have been used for. So it's just a question of space and then a question of age that has resulted in this current state of deterioration.
But Kwame, I'm more interested in why it's taking us 70 years to have this discussion. I mean, this is a public institution. Yes. So therefore, there's no budget from central government, there's no budget from the internally generated funds to sort of undertake periodic rehabilitation.
We've been doing the routine maintenance, but for a facility that is used intensively as this, you need a comprehensive renovation every now and then. That has never happened.
So there's some kind of government neglect, will you say?
As a matter of fact, Ashanti region generally has not benefited much from investment in the health sector until recently that we are seeing a number of hospitals coming up.
In the last 67 years of our independence?
Yes, because how come the most populous region in Ghana, we only have one tertiary facility? When the same population in Greater Accra or less until recently had multiples, people are spoiled for choice here. But in Ashanti region and beyond, Confronti has always been the only hospital that has been providing tertiary health care. So as a nation, we've not invested much in healthcare infrastructure generally, but Confronti is even worse off because apart from being the only hospital of its kind, without any support, it has been compelled to provide tertiary health care for the increasing number of people who are there without the requisite investment by the state. The first attempt that was made to get the hospital renovated, we are told, was somewhere in 1981, during Liman's administration. Subsequent to that, there has been a number of attempts, but none of them materialized. I've been with the hospital since 2005. And each administration and each government had made a certain attempt to try and undertake a comprehensive renovation of the facility, but none of them has seen the light.
It's never been. But the key issue is, despite the fact that you find yourself in a very peculiar environment where you are attending to other regions, apart from the Ashanti region, the facility is so stretched that, I mean, you are unable to live up to expectation. But my understanding has always been that Confanoche was a referral, or is also a referral center. So therefore, some of the cases could go to South or the KNUST hospital. Are they not taking some of the load?
All right. So this is the problem of Ashanti region healthcare infrastructure generally. There are issues with numbers, there are issues with capacity, and there are issues with a range of services. The numbers, because the special hospitals in the region, as well as the public ones, you take Confanoche out, the rest are not that at par with the kind of care that people will require, which will prevent them from coming to Confanoche. So ultimately, they all end up at Confanoche. In terms of capacity, now look at Kolebu. Kolebu has almost 2,000 beds. Confanoche has 1,200. Master South Hospital, which is acting, because we don't have a regional hospital.
As a regional hospital?
It's acting as a regional hospital. It has 140 beds.
140?
If you come to Accra, RATE has 400 beds. If you go to Tech Hospital has 100 beds. If you come to Accra...
And Tech is the KNUST hospital?
Yes. KNUST hospital. If you come to Accra's counterpart, UGMC has almost 600 beds. So the disparity is so stark that no matter what, given the same population that we are catering for, no matter what, these ancillary hospitals that are supposed to confront, they do not have the capacity, and we don't even have their numbers that to take some of the burden in a significant way.
So is that the reason the hospital is in this poor state?
Yes, please. Because I've told you about overutilization. How come a hospital that was designed for 500 or less is now taking care of 1,200 people for the same space? There haven't been any significant inpatient facilities at the hospital since 1955. That's an emergency center which was completed in 2008. It's basically a transition facility for the resuscitation and stabilization of patients, and then they are moved to the wards. Unfortunately, the walls have remained the same. The space for the walls have remained the same. This is inspired by the fact that as we speak, if you go to the hospital now, people have traveled from all over Ghana to seek OPD specialist care. The average is 1,000 a day. So every day that hospital is visited by this number of people. Out of this,
1,000 people.
1,000 on daily basis, the same space. That was given to us almost 70 years ago. When we started in the way, the attendance was just around 100, 150, 200, and progressively we are doing 1,000, the same space. So we've actually abused
the facility
over the years.
But over the period that, for example, you've been at the Public Relations Department, I'm sure that every year you prepare a budget to say that a component of this is going to rehabilitate the hospital. Is it the case that you don't get the money to do it?
We are talking about routine maintenance, and I've told you, if you've not done any routine maintenance at all, you'll not be seeing the hospital standing. It will have collapsed. If management has not done intermittent renovation, routine renovation works, this hospital, there will have been catastrophic infrastructure failure by now. What is holding the hospital is the routine maintenance we'll be doing over the years. But given the age and the rate of utilization, if something dramatic had not been done, as being spearheaded by the Santehene, I'm very sure in the next couple of years we will not hear.
We will not even have a hospital.
We will not even have a hospital.
And to the extent that, I mean, you go to the hospital and you are likely, or the possibility of coming back home with another ailment exists.
Exactly. And that is why this project is about renovation and modernization. It's not just about renovating. We're also going to modernize. Now, if you look at Confronte, it's basically beams and columns. The rest are all windows. But the window design in 1954 was the one that is opened out, the French windows. Now, you cannot put a mosquito net when you have to open the window out because it will tear it definitely. Under the current project, renovation project, we are going to change the window system in a manner that will allow for mosquito nets so that when you come on admission, you'll not be going back with malaria because we couldn't put mosquito nets to prevent you or protect you from mosquito bites.
Right. Let me again, we'll come back to deal with other matters that is attracting our attention this afternoon. These are beyond the project that you are embarking on. I mean, I've seen a lot of text messages. Somebody's asking, we reported about the dialysis center that you had run out of equipment. Somebody is asking that you are holding nursing mothers because they came to give birth and they were unable to pay their bills, and some of them are being held as prisoners. We'll deal with this matter. Mr. Duwache, so, I mean, what led to this dream to start this project, to raise this amount of money? $10 million, I understand.
$10 million. Minimum $10 million.
What went into the thinking?
A lot has gone into it. Let me first of all say a big thank you to His Majesty for leading this project, and also especially to the current CEO, Professor Dr. Chiradem Mensah, who has been also a great vision to the hospital. I think that somebody very prominent visited the hospital, and
He was on admission.
He was on admission, and the first gentleman came to visit. Subsequently, His Majesty also came to visit, and the conversation was had as to what could be done to salvage the current situation of the hospital. I was privileged to have a meeting between myself and His Majesty. In fact, the professor, the CEO, and I went to His Majesty to have a discussion on whatever was going to happen. And trust me, when we got there, when we sat down, His Majesty started telling us what he thinks must be done to the hospital. And maybe I've not said this anywhere. When we came out, the CEO was in tears because we went with a message to discuss what he had come to see at Confanochi Teaching Hospital. But then he ended up telling us, let me put it in this way. Confanochi Krasenka, ya betimi ni nanka companies akese omo Ghana and commerce as nanka etimi nka mining companies here omo around the same betimi aboa nanka etimi MTM for near ade. This is what we want to tell him. He said, okay, Nana, that's why we came. He says, okay, go and put the proposal together, come back to me, and I'll tell you where you're going to find the money to do it. We're able to do it, and in actual fact, he has taken the bull by the horn, and he's leading this himself. So it is a vision born by His Majesty, a vision born by the CEO that has come to fruition. And the management of Komfo-Anokye, I can say, are very happy with this initiative, and they see that, and the board also, they can see there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Because from where I sit and for what I had seen, I can tell you that if nothing was done, within the next 5 years, Komfo-Anokye, for any serious environment, has to be closed down. So this intervention is very timely, and it must be done, and it must be supported by all well-meaning Ghanaians across the world.
So you are looking forward to raise $10 million US. That's a lot of money.
It isn't.
120 million Ghana cedis?
Yes. And even that, the scope of work has increased. The initial plan was to touch on the inpatient department, the wards. However, upon further consultation, it has become necessary. Somebody asked a simple question. So are you going to do this beautiful thing? I'm sure your production team will be showing the projected end of the project. When completed. When completed. Are you going to put these old beds in there? So it meant that we had to expand the scope, also bring in equipment, etc. So the entire renovation is taking charge of the inpatient department and then also other ancillary facilities within the hospital. So it's a comprehensive renovation of the entire Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital that we are looking at $10 million. We have started, we are getting somewhere, and one of the reasons why we are here is to appeal to well-meaning Ghanaians to come on board to support this project, because it is not everything that we leave up to the government to do. Because if we do not sit up, if we do not bring up the, how do I put this? Let's say, something that has to be done by the people themselves and not to be dependent on government all the time.
Because government support is not coming in.
Government support is not forthcoming. As I sit here, if I tell you there's anything in the pipeline for the renovation of Komfo-Anokye,
there is none.
There is none. I haven't heard. Maybe coming here, you may be able to tell me as a news.
I mean, and that for me is a concern for money, that we are raising money to rehabilitate a public institution, which originally should be government leading the crusade. Yet private individuals have come together to say that we are raising money. It means that government, some will say that there's total government neglect of the facility.
Elton, let me not put it as total government neglect. We should all be mindful of the fact that resources in this country is scarce, and therefore its utilization would not reach the expected of everybody. So if you do not take an action, it means that we are the end beneficiaries of this facility. In the end, if we do not do this, what's going to happen within the next few years ahead of us? However, remember that people elsewhere, when you travel outside, these things are done by private individuals to ensure that development happens. Not everything should be put at the doorstep of government. The government may have, there are some shortcomings with the government, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do anything at all.
So how is it going? How is the fundraising going? I've read media reports, people coming to donate, they go to the Otumfuo to donate. How much have you raised so far? Are you getting closer to your target? And how is it going?
Let me mention that we are privileged to say that currently we are about 38% of our target, including pledges. We have had one, what's the name? Joshop Construction. He has adopted one block of $1.2 million. Jasmo has also adopted one block of $1.2 million. We've had companies, some of the corporate organization, Oak Plaza has given us 1 million Ghana cedis, MTN 1 million Ghana cedis, and other social clubs have also come on board. It means that with the 38% that we are looking at, if everybody came on board, the King's vision was to say that beyond corporate Ghana, if every household is to give him, let's say, an amount, 100 cedis minimum, every household, 100 cedis minimum, it means that we are good to go. And for us, behind this project, I saw it that if we got 1 million Ghanaians across the world to donate 100 cedis each, it means that 1 million Ghanaians have already contributed $10 million. And it means that we are already there.
And that'll be all that you need to undertake this comprehensive renovation of the facility.
For now, I can say that if we got $10 million, it means that we have achieved our aim.
And 38%, you are at $3.80 million out of $10 million.
Let's put it like that.
And what is ahead of you is quite huge.
It's quite huge, but we are optimistic because we just started the fundraising in November. And if within 3 months we have been able to do this, it tells me that corporate Ghana at the time of the launch may have been closing their books owing to the closing the year. But I'm expecting a lot of them to come on board. We have reached out to quite a number, and some of them that we haven't really reached out to have gotten in touch with us that they will come on board to support this project. Beyond the corporate organizations, we are looking at churches, identifiable groups. We are looking at mosques. We are looking at unions. We are looking at even all students' association. One of the very unique donations we received was from a school, Just Hope preparatory school of children of about 5 years maximum age, donating 500 cedis to this project. It tells you that if everybody came on board in this size, we should be able to do this with ease. This is for us, and it is.
So for those who are donating, is there any benefit they stand to gain from this donation?
Yes, please. Also, there's something called the Walls of Honor. If you are entering Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, we are going to have a wall of honor and then beyond the walls of honor also, we also have some appreciation that we are giving to the person that would donate beyond a certain threshold of $1,000, etc. As I speak, on the 11th of March, the Asanteman Association of Europe are getting ready to also launch and bring on board their quota or their contribution to this. Because they sit there and they tell you that we are here, but our family is down there, and they need to get access to proper health care other than what is happening at the moment.
Mr. Pimpon, so you are undertaking this rehabilitation whilst people are still on admission at the wards. How are you balancing it?
Yeah, what we will have wished was to maybe get a whole block vacated so that we can speed up the work. Unfortunately, I've told you about the disparities in healthcare infrastructure in that region. There's no other hospital that can take over the work that we are doing. So relocating or evacuating patients is not an option. So what we are doing now is to do phased execution, where we are emptying some of the wards and allocating their patients to other wards within that same department so that we create some free spaces for us to start the work. As at now, we've done that of A4 and A5, where we've shifted the patients to A3 and A2. And therefore, we started work seriously on A5 and A4 after we finished the renovation and repairs of the roof. That was the first phase. That was the extent of deterioration, the extent that the whole ABCD block, that's the G blocks, it was leaking like a sieve. And that whenever it rained, 1 week after the rain had stopped, water will still be seeping into the walls. That was how bad it was. Fortunately, because of this project, now we've been able to repair all the roof on the first time in over 20 years. When it rained, the staff and the patient testified that the walls or the roof was no longer leaking.
It is now better.
It has stopped completely. So we've now started with A5, we are going to A4. We've managed to get a space somewhere that we've squeezed to put some beds there. We are going to relocate patients from A3 to that space so that we can get A5, A4, and then A3 available for the renovation works to continue. So we've adopted a phased approach, and that's what is going to extend the period that we allotted for the execution of this project. We thought that we could do it in about 18 months. But given that we don't have any other facility to take over the work that we are doing, or for us to offload our work to them, it's become impossible to get the blocks fully vacant and available for this work. And therefore, we've decided that we do it in phases.
All right. Let me ask another question on the fundraising activity, and then we'll deal with other matters and come back to conclude on the fundraising. And this question goes for the two of you. So I remember when I was with Love FM, I accompanied the Asantehene to the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital to inspect ongoing projects. And concern came up, and it's about expanding the facility. And the CEO then, I remember Professor Hene said that, they've been trying to get more land to expand the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, but it appears the hospital has run out of land. the Otumfuo said he was going to intervene with the military to ensure that Komfo will be able to move to the military quarters that is closer to the hospital. I mean, it appears nothing has been done regarding that particular matter.
All right. Behind the scenes, something is being done. Otumfuo caused a committee to be set up. That committee has finished its work. It has submitted its recommendations to the Dementia Police, and it is being studied by Otumfuo. The initial agreement was that they were going to allocate part of the military land to the hospital for its expansion projects. And so it is being hoped that maybe in the next couple of months, Dementia will make a formal public declaration on the matter, and the hospital is likely to get some additional land to help in the execution of pipeline projects. There are a number of projects that are on the drawing board, and we are very, very confident that in the coming months, something good is going to be heard on that.
Sammy, you want to add something to it before I move to other issues?
No, it's okay.
Okay, so we'll come back to conclude this discussion on how best people can donate, or whether cash or in kind. But there's been few running issues regarding Komfo Teaching Hospital. Last week, for example, we reported shortage of dialysis machine that prompted redirection of patients to private medical facilities. What caused that?
Well, we know Komfo is one of the few, I think it's the only public facility in the Ashanti region that has a dialysis center. With time, due to lack of investments and other resources, the center began to run down. So the management then decided that they were going to execute a new project that is going to renovate and expand the existing dialysis center. And because of that, the old dialysis center was closed down. So a smaller space with the limited machines that we have was found, and a new service was started at the special ward. Fortunately, the old dialysis center, which is going to take about 13 machines, will be completed by next month. We've signed a number of agreements and made other arrangements for new machines to be brought in. Nivash Medical Supplies is one company that is bringing us 3 new machines at a cost of about 1.6 million Ghana cedis. 3 machines with 3 months of consumable supplies. That's cost, you could imagine 1.6 million for just 3 machines. It's very expensive. So if you don't get state support, it becomes virtually impossible for you to use. And
are you getting it because they have their own concerns with treating kidney patients? I don't know about the story at Komfo Teaching Hospital.
So far, that support hasn't reached us. But we are exploring other private sector interventions like PPP. But they are so expensive. The average patient cannot pay.
How much are you charging for a session?
We are around 400 Ghana cedis per session for now. But with the new equipment coming in and the costs, associated costs, I wonder if we can maintain that.
That means the 400 may go up?
It may. I'm not sure we can deliver that service at that level at the same cost. But we live to see.
And that will be a big blow to those who are suffering
we are
kidney complicated issues.
Other partnerships too. Now we are in talks with the Ottawa Hospital in Canada. They are helping us with about 20 refurbished dialysis machines. But they are refurbished ones. And usually we don't like the refurbished ones because there's so much pressure on us that if you bring in the refurbished one, they do not last that much. Springfield, they have also promised us 5 delivered, 2 refurbished ones, 5 refurbished ones delivered 2, and we are waiting for the other 3. So in about a month or 2, we should be in a very good position. But for now, yes, we have issues with dialysis machines.
So the 400 Ghana, is this subsidized or this is a full cost recovery?
It is. We are breaking even because they are old machines and their supplies are not as sophisticated as the new machines.
So until government is able to support, the 400 Cs may go up with the new machines that are coming in.
Because we even have proposals for PPP, and as I've told you, if we really want to roll out fully, we now have a center that can take 30 machines. We have another center that can take up to 12. If we want to roll out fully on our own, we can't. We are just making available 1.6 million cedis for just 3 machines. So if we are doing the 13, in addition to the 12, we will need a lot more support than the hospital can now accommodate from its budget. We have PPP proposals on our desk at the moment, but no PPP.
No response yet.
We are yet to take them up because it will result in a price increase.
Yes.
Because if a private person is coming to put his or her machines and then supply the consumables at the current market price, this is the challenge with public health sector. in Ghana. The businessman changes the prices as and when the dollar CD exchange rate changes, as and when the port charges change. And so they will not wait because Parliament has passed a law indicating a price for a service. And for 1 year, it is not changed. And so that person will continue to take what has been approved.
I remember when one of the recommendations from Kolebu was that they have already made proposals to the Ministry of Health on new charges and fees, but that has yet to be approved by Parliament. I don't know whether we've also made similar recommendations to the Ministry of Health, especially on dialysis.
Usually, when it is passed, it is something
it affects everybody. All right. So I'm getting a lot of comments on other issues. Now, somebody says that new mothers and patients are sometimes detained at the hospital over unpaid medical bills and postnatal expenses.
See,
I thought health insurance takes care of.
It is not everything. You see, that is what people must know. It is not everything that is covered by health insurance. We are a tertiary facility. There are certain things that you do for you that might not be in the health insurance package, benefit package. It happens all the time. Because depending upon the complexity or the complicated nature of your condition, we may have to resort to other procedures and medications that are not in the health insurance. But the major challenge that we have are people who come there without health insurance. Ordinarily, if you have health insurance and you're unable even to pay the cash one, there's a certain arrangement that we can reach, agreement that we can reach you to for you to go and then pay the rest of a period of time. Because the health insurance component will have taken a chunk of the bill. But the challenge is that most of the people that you see complaining are people who come there without health insurance. Elton, one thing we should know is that we don't get things free. Just as the private hospitals go to the market to buy things, it's the same market that we go to buy things. And we even go through a more stringent procedure through the procurement channel. There is an established procurement system for us that the private sector may not even go in. The private sector can just go to the street and buy this book for 10 cedis. But if we are to go and buy it, it will be about 12 cedis. Why? Because whoever we are buying from, we will make sure that the person is paying VAT. He has other legal obligations that he has complied with, that the private sector person will not be compelled to comply with.
So as we speak, are there mothers on detention?
It is possible. Even yesterday, there's some philanthropists came to pay some of the bills. When you go and credit things to deliver care, you must be able to get the money back so that I can pay your creditors. Or if you are not able to do that, then next time around, you can't even get consumables to provide that care. And that care will be interrupted. I don't think that's why we want as a nation.
But how is that impacting on your finances?
A lot. We have something we call paupers. And if you come and see waivers that we've given to these paupers, you'll be surprised. Because the person is unable to pay, the person is occupying your bed. Meanwhile, have people who are queuing up to be admitted. So out of frustration, you let that person go so that you can get new admissions. And that's a loss. So we have very serious operational difficulties as a result of these paupers. And therefore, the pressure should not be on the hospitals to relieve such patients. Because you create an epidemic, then anybody who come there and they will tell you, you don't have money to pay. Because there's so much pressure on you. If you allow them to go, I'm telling you, we will create an epidemic of paupers where everybody will come to the hospital and
expect to be treated free of charge. Final issue, congestion at the Accident and Emergency Center, and there are instances where patients on admission are seen lying on the floor.
Yes. First, Confanoche has the highest rate of congestion among the teaching hospitals. It's also because of our unique position as the sole tertiary facility in our enclave. In fact, National Ambulance Service data will tell you that they take more patients to Confanoche than any hospital in Ghana. We've topped consistently. If you come to Greater Accra, combine Kolebu, Rage, University of Ghana Medical Center, and 37. The number of people that are sent to these 4 facilities by National Health Ambulance, they don't even reach that of Confanoche. Confanoche's figure as one hospital is higher than the 4 hospitals combined. That should tell you the kind of pressure that is on us.
Because we are getting cases from all over.
All over. There are spaces that were designed for 12. If you go to Confanoche now, Orange, 12. The minimum you count on any day is 40. That's why when you come and you tell us that we have no beds in normal Confanoche, we tell you that is not true. We have space, lack of space. That's our challenge. How come a space for 12 people, we're able to put 40 beds? It tells you that we've been able to get beds. But we've compromised the space. And at times, because of this thing, we may also end up compromising the quality of care. Because the space that was given to you for 12, you are now taking care of 40, 42, 43, up to 48. We need a lot more support as a teaching hospital. That's why we are here. People think that, okay, why should we help Konfanoche?
Because you generate funds internally, and you should be able to be on your own.
That's another misconception. There's no hospital in Ghana, a public hospital, that has been allowed to generate hospital to cover HR, that's salaries, and to cover capital expenditure. There's no hospital. Our tariff structure is said that you have to recoup what you spend on consumables. Per the healthcare financing policy of this country, capital investments, like the one Utunfo is helping us to do, salaries are the responsibility of the state. So what we've been allowed to charge is not meant for these things. And that's how come the government has never tackled us or compelled us to do some of the things that we are asking it to come and do.
Okay. So in wrapping up, the way forward so that we can bring this discussion to a close. Sammy?
Well, Elton, we are here for one thing, and I'd like to say a big thank you to the multimedia family, especially with Ken, for leading this and ensuring that our information is out there to the general public, and in our effort to raise the $10 million target that we have been given to be able to bring the hospital to an appreciable sanity level. Elton, what's happening is that everyone who is watching this program or listening must bear in mind that if nothing is coming from the government, we should be able to imbibe our sense of patriotism and do things for ourselves. I'm always guided by the quote from J.F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Elsewhere, these things are done by private individuals. If we do not take this action now, if you come to Konfanoche tomorrow, it might not be there for you. It is for us. So we must support His Majesty to be able to ensure that Konfanoche Teaching Hospital receives its former glory. How do I donate for individual, corporate Ghana? What is happening is that we have all payment platforms activated. We are on, we have a short code, which is star 776 star. It will be answer. It will be answer. Star 776 star 1955 hash. That one is for every network. The 1955 is the year of establishment of Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. So you must not miss it. The mobile money platform, which is available to everybody, is also 0544 1955 25. The 25 representing His Majesty's silver anniversary celebration. 0544 1955 25. And any Fidelity Bank that you are able to visit, if you ask for the Heal Konfanoche project account, both the USD and then the CD, you'll be provided with. However, I'm also privileged to mention that our website is very active, healkonfanoche.org, www.healkonfanoche.org. All these also apply to our social media platforms. We are appealing to everyone who is available, all well-meaning Ghanaians. Donate your quota. It may not be for your benefit, but for the benefit of the ordinary person who has no hope of a better health care. If we are able to do this, posterity will judge us favorably. One day, you'll sit back and say that when Otumfo was celebrating his 25th anniversary, I contributed my 100 Ghana cedis to make Konfanoche great again. We are the ones who stand to benefit, nobody else. Leave the politicians out. They have theirs, but this is for us. It is by us, and we will be able to do it. Mr. Samia Dubuache is chairman of the Heal Konfanoche project, and of course, coming from Public Relations Officer with the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. Thank you very much for coming through. I wanted to ask you about D5. D5. And why you christen a block D5, and then the assumption is that when they take you to D5, you are not coming back home.
So this project presents us a unique opportunity to change that narrative. We are not going to name the walls after people who are going to fund the renovation of those wards. So Elton, you can come for D5. We will name it Elton John Brobe ward instead of D5. We are going to change all this. D5, when they put you at D5, that means you are almost on your way to join your ancestors. The narrative is changing. It's not even that. You see, it's kind of conditions that are admitted. Okay. Besides that, there are a number of people, including my own father and other family members, who have been to the D block and
came back home.
Exactly. So it depends upon what condition you bought and at what time. We know our health-seeking habit is so bad. Whenever we are sick, the first place we go is the drugstore, the Malam, the Sofo, and before we even come to the hospitals like Konfanoche,
is already late.
Last stage.
All right.
So that's a major contributing.
Thank you very much. And the target for the Komfo Hill project is $10 million. As we speak, they've managed to raise $3.8 million, which means that there's still more to go. Donate now, and he's provided the avenues which you can donate to help bring Komfo to that international standard that we all want it to be. This is a pause here on Joy News. My name is Elton Broby. We'll take a short break. We shall be back. This is Joy News, and this is the pause. And of course, this is your election headquarters. By this time, we're focusing our attention on the United States of America 2024 elections, because as voters across the nation head to the polls on Super Tuesday, the stakes are high in Arlington amidst the hustle and bustle. Questions loom about former President Donald Trump's potential nomination, whilst concerns about President Joe Biden's age lingers. Now, joining me to dive into the dynamics is Carol Van Dam, a political reporter with the Voice of America. Carol, it's good to have you on the pause this afternoon in Ghana. Why is today called Super Tuesday for those who are watching and cannot relate to what is super about this Tuesday? Tell us more about this.
Well, it's called Super Tuesday because there's 15 states and one territory, the Samoa American territory. So that's a lot, and that's the most they've ever had so far in this whole election season. There's going to be millions of people going to vote today. So there's over a third of the delegates are going to be hashed out today. So that's why they call it Super Tuesday.
So can you describe the scene in Arlington, for example, as voters head to the poll?
What we're seeing here today, did you say?
No, I'm asking the scene, the mood in Arlington as voters head to the polls.
Well, it's a kind of a cold, rainy day, and it was unexpected because it was quite warm and sunny yesterday. And there are no long lines. There's just people kind of straggling in. This is at a central library in Arlington, Virginia, so there's also people coming just to go to the library. But there's been a steady stream of voters here who are coming either as Democrats or Republicans or independents to cast their ballots.
So, Carol, here in Ghana it's very warm, and I can see it's very cold out there. But former President Donald Trump, can he get the Republican nomination for 2024, looking at the figures and what you are privy to?
He's far and away ahead of his opponent, Nikki Haley, the former South Carolina governor and UN ambassador. However, she is still a thorn in his side because she's still, garnering somewhere usually between, 25 to up to 40% of the vote for the Republican nominee. So as an example, in her home state of South Carolina, she took about 40% to his 60%. And that was more than a lot of analysts had actually expected. She won her first primary this past weekend in the District of Columbia, right nearby here in Arlington, Virginia, which is our capital, of course. And it was resounding win for her. But the downside of that is there was only a couple thousand Republicans voting, so that delegate count isn't really very large.
And you will say that voters are not concerned about the many legal issues that he's dealing with?
Oh, they're concerned, but it's a question. He's got such a strong, loyal base, and the question is whether that has upset any of his loyal base. And according to the pollsters, not a whole heck of a lot. The people seem to be sometimes even more committed to him, who were always, people behind Trump, the megas, as they're called here, because every time he was charged with another criminal offense, they seem to come out even more so and rally for him.
Right. Let's focus on the Democrats. For the current president, Joe Biden, there's been multiple concerns raised about his age. How is his re-election campaign going?
Well, his campaign strategists say they're eager to get their contender out there in front of the people, in front of the cameras, and to talk about the issues. And they think that it's the right time for Mr. Biden because the economy is doing better than expected. There was a time when a lot of economists in this country thought there would be not a soft landing, which is what this country had. And so, there's a lot of people who feel like Joe Biden, yes, his age is an issue, but that he's been grounded on a lot of the issues that matter to them. Also, there's a lot of people who will be coming out to vote, the pollsters say, about the issue of abortion, since the Supreme Court, as you know, overturned Roe v. Wade, which legalized abortion in this country for decades.
So after today, what's next? After today's Super Tuesday, what's next?
Well, there'll be another handful of states that will be voting in the primaries, and then that might be the clinch. On March 12th, we could actually see Mr. Trump get close to what he needs to clinch the delegate count to be the Republican nominee.
And from your own independent view, you would say that it's likely to be a rematch between President Joe Biden and Donald Trump in November.
It sure is looking that way. Mr. Biden doesn't really have any significant types of challengers on the ballot. Mr. Trump has one, but it's not even significant in terms of the delegate count. So this is, for all intents and purposes, a rematch from the last major presidential election in this country.
Carol, thank you very much for your time this afternoon on The Pulse. And Carol Van Dam is with our partners, The Voice of America, and we'll be doing this every Tuesday, Thursday, as we bring you up to speed on the United States election. That is likely to be another rematch between Donald Trump of the Republicans and, of course, Joe Biden, the current president, who will be competing on the ticket of the Democrats. And the U.S. election is scheduled for November this year. Now, back home, still on your election headquarters, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, has shared in their frustration of soya farmers over claims of poor pricing of their produce following a ban in exportation of the product. According to the former president, who is also a farmer, the product, which sells at 460 cedis a bag, is unable to cover the cost of production. Mr. Mahama made the story public in support of challenges of the Soya Bean Farmers Association, who are proposing the lifting of a ban on soya bean exportation. Anaya Ojima was at a town hall meeting at Tamale as part of the Building Ghana tour of the NDC and has come to with this report.
The ban on export of soya took effect in 2021, aimed at ensuring local millers are able to have year-round supply of soya bean to feed the poultry industry. Hitherto, the local millers faced strong competition from foreign buyers, driving prices to about 600 cedis of 100 kilogram worth of soya bean. According to leadership of the farmers, it costs between 450 cedis and 460 cedis for 100 kilogram of the product, which is unable to make up for the cost of production. They say market for the product has continued to diminish.
Surely they are there to buy, but sometimes you will hear that they don't have money, they are waiting for money to come. So, and the grain is the bank of the farmer. You should be able to pick it at any moment and be able to sell to solve your problems. So if you bring it out and they say, oh, today we don't have money, it's a problem.
Former President Mahama shares in their frustration as he tours the country to receive public inputs in drawing the NDC's 2024 manifesto. He explains how the present ban on exportation of the product has negatively affected his earnings.
If you look at the diesel I use in the tractor, the salaries I paid my farm hands, the inputs, the weedicide and all that I bought, then it means that we're not really breaking even. But if we're allowed to export and the price went up, it will make us put more land under soya bean cultivation. It will make us expand the acreage under soya bean so that we can produce more. And when we produce more, the price will come down naturally. And so I agree with you that that export ban is hurting the farmers because the price at which they are buying soya bean from us does not encourage us to expand production of soya bean. So I'm thinking of putting my land under another crop next year. I've started a pilot onion production. I did 20 acres. And I'm getting about 60 bags of onion per acre. And each bag of onion costs 1,000, I can sell for 1,400 cedis. And so I'm probably better off farming onion and leaving soybean. And that's what I'm saying, let it find its natural price.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Association of Soybean Farmers and Aggregators is proposing the government invest in the sector to drive production. Abdul Hakim Issa is Director of Administration.
Ghana has the capacity of producing about 1.5 million tons in a year, but currently we are doing less than 250,000 tons. So our problem is that government should increase investment into the sector. We have army of unemployed youth in Ghana, and we have arable lands situated when there is nothing happening on those lands. So we are of the view that government should support the production so that people who are sitting without jobs will find something to do with those arable lands.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
And welcome back from the election headquarters. Welcome back to the pause here on Joy News. Now, let's talk technology, let's talk mobile phones, let's talk Motorola. Because after prolonged absence, Motorola is making a bold comeback in the Ghanaian market, stirring curiosity and anticipation among consumers and industry enthusiasts alike. What led to this absence, if you like? Now, joining me in the studio to dive into the untold story behind Motorola's enduring legacy in Ghana is Charles Ohiegwe. Did I get it right? Thank you so much. General Manager Motorola Ghana, and John Walker, the Technical Service Manager Motorola. You're welcome to the pause.
Thank you.
And I remember that slick, slim Motorola some time back. This will be around early 2000 or late 90s. I mean, it was the age. Everybody loved it. And then it went off the market. What's the story? Let me start with you, General Manager.
Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity, and we are really glad to be here this afternoon. Well, we all know that Motorola used to be a very household name, and and it's something that most times those days, whenever you even talk about you hold up a mobile phone, what people refer to is that Motorola.
Right.
Great. And like you said, we were off the market for a while. We had our own few challenges, but the truth is that we are back bigger and stronger and better. So in conclusion, we don't really want to, the ability to bounce back, and putting into consideration a lot of things and coming out with smartphones now that are very, very durable, trailblazing innovations. At least that gives us the mark that, we are back for good. So Motorola is back, and we are assuring the Ghanaian market that we are back, and we are back bigger and stronger.
So Walker, how big is this comeback?
I would say very big. We remember back in 1992 when Mobitel came into Ghana and it brought the TAC range of phones. Motorola was at the helm of it.
Right.
We had the Micro TAC and the Star TAC, and back in Ghana, like GM rightly said, if you're talking about phone, it's Motorola. People
always been
call phones Motorola. Yeah, and so it was big back in the day, and it's bigger now. So it's very big, coming back very big.
And before coming on air, we were just talking about this slick, nice phone. Tell me about this.
I'll let John talk.
Okay, John. John, just tell me about this. This looks so nice.
Well, I have in my hands the Raza 40 Ultra. A lot of R&D has gone into producing.
What is R&D?
Research and development.
Right.
I remember we produced the first lightest clamshell phone back in the day,
And then before you were asking of the V3.
Exactly.
Also was a very light phone. And this is another innovation by Motorola. Very light, very sleek.
Can you just show it to my camera so that people...
Well, this is it. You can fold it. This is the 40 Ultra. Very wonderful phone.
Yeah, so the phone, yeah, that's the phone you just saw on your screen. And this is it in reality.
This is it in reality. And the beauty of this is that it has almost a full screen behind it. And if you're taking a picture, whoever you're taking can see their image and position.
Myself, and I feel like grabbing it, you know.
Exactly. So it's a really great phone. It's a really great phone. And this is our flagship phone in the range of phone portfolio here in Ghana. Yeah.
So what's the name again?
This is the Razr 40 Ultra.
And apart from the picture and the dynamism with it, what are some of the other features that you can get with it?
Well, as sleek as it looks, it's robust. It's fast. It's really fast. And this phone, well, this was a demo,
of course,
and you still have the phone,
right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, Motorola developed the Six Sigma back in the days, and it's a way to test quality. And they developed it. So anything Motorola produces conforms to a very high level of quality. And so this Razr 40 Ultra, as sleek as it looks, it's of the highest quality, built with the highest quality material, a screen that doesn't break easily, very, very fast, good camera, strong battery life. And all the AI features that are currently running in the tech market, it has it.
So Jim, how is the market responding to this re-entry, if you like, of Motorola?
Well, since we came into the market, the Ghanaian market has really accepted us. And you know, one thing about Motorola is it's developed from very high quality products. You know, and we try to put it in a level where that is very affordable. So the response has been great. So marketing-wise, we are trying to make sure that at least it gets to almost everybody. So we are trying to push our tentacles, you know, to make sure that we connect to most of the major distributors around the country, so that everyone can have an access to this Motorola.
And you talk about pricing. How competitive is it?
Very, very competitive. I mean, the pricing, you know, we're a bit price sensitive, we know. And so we have phones ranging from 900 with the entry phones to maybe, like John said, the high-end phones, which is the Ultra 40, 13,000 Ghana cedis. As well.
So John, apart from the Ultra 30, what are some of the other products on the market?
Well, we have from the Moto E13, we have the G13, G14.
All our smartphones.
We have G54, we have G73, G84. And so these are a range of portfolio made for the African market and the climate as well.
And other phones comes with other things like earpiece.
Yes. Of late, most of the phones are beginning to drop chargers and all that, but Motorola still does chargers. So yes, you have your chargers, you have your earphones, you have your screen protector and cover. It comes all in the box.
And in terms of its smartness, tell me something about it.
Like John said, you could. There are a lot of. It has this phone gestures that you could use, and that comes on with the phone, and this makes it a bit very unique. We also have very quality camera that the phone comes with. A whole lot that we can really. It's good if you come and experience it yourself. So, like John said, we are trying to make sure that we bring the love back to Ghana, and that everybody could always want to. Because when I walked into your place,
right,
one of your staffs asked me and said, "Are we back? And are we back for good?"
Of course.
And it's just that's the feeling we get anytime we move out.
So it's available on the market, or there are designated places I should just walk in and get this?
Yes. We have our main experience center in East Legon, opposite the police station by the Kids Fit Club. And there, when you come in there, you get to experience all the portfolio of phones that we have. And we also have a showroom in Adabraka, Omega Compute Systems Engineering, and also at Swan Lake by the Holy Trinity Hospital. And then we have a whole list of outlets everywhere that you can get Motorola.
All right. So before I let you go, your final words to viewers who are watching and wondering when I can lay hands on this sleek phone.
Great. Like we said, Motorola is back. It's back for good. It's back. We're now bigger. We're stronger. And we want to let the whole Ghanaian public know that it's affordable. And we know the love they have for Motorola. And we are telling them just get out the shops. And any phone shop, I'm sure you get Motorola.
And then before somebody just asking me about the battery life, I don't know if...
I think everybody, people who have used Motorola can actually attest to that quality in Motorola. I know a lot of brands claim long battery life, but Motorola claims it and they walk the talk. Yes, it does have long battery life.
And as low as 900 Ghana cedi, you can own the new
Motorola
smartphone.
As low as 900 Ghana cedi, you can own the E13. Yeah.
And if you want to go to the high end, I mean, so it's designed for every pocket.
Every pocket, every person, walk of life, every profession, yes, you can get your hands on them.
Thank you very much, John, for coming. Thank you very much, GM, and hopefully I'll see you at the East Legon. And yes, you want to?
I would like to drop a number,
of course.
Please in case people would. Yes. So if you want your Motorola, just contact 027 007 2269. Again, 0270 07 2269 or 0264 769 452. I repeat, 0264 769 452. Hello, Moto.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you the very best. All right, so this is the Pulse still here on Joy News. We'll take a short break. We shall be right back. You're welcome back. Now let's do some health related. Now, lead poisoning remains a poignant threat to maternal and fetal health, contributing to a range of adverse outcomes, including miscarriages and premature birth. Pregnant women who are exposed to lead are at significant risk, as lead can cross the placenta barrier, affecting the fetus during a critical period of development. According to the World Health Organization, no level of lead exposure is considered safe, particularly for pregnant women and young children, making the removal of lead exposure sources a public health priority. Well, non-governmental organization Pure Health Ghana is shining the spotlight on the silent threat of lead poison ahead of International Women's Day. Joining me in the studio is Esmond Wisdom Kwanzaa, Ghana's country director for Pure Health Blacksmith Initiative. Esmond, the lead to this story is more scary.
Right.
I mean, lead and its contribution to miscarriages and complications with birth. How bad is it?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and I would like to use this opportunity to thank you and the management for always giving us the opportunity anytime we knock at your doors. The situation of lead poisoning is a dire one, and in Ghana, it's a public health concern, especially its effect on pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children is unbelievable. And to be honest, the whole population is at risk. But Pure Earth has been shining light on the maternal health ahead of the International Women's Day. The idea is to, one, empower women with the knowledge and the resources to protect their health. Two, we also want to engage with policymakers, government agencies, international women organizations to, advocate for regulations. I think regulation in this area need a lot to be done. And then finally, the media, of course. Lead is a silent killer. According to a recent model by Bank of Ghana, which was published in the Lancet Planetary Report, between 3 to 5 million people are at risk of dying through lead poisoning every year. And as you've just read, some of the complications in maternal health, stillbirth, babies with no weight, it's huge. And the record of this in this country is alarming.
So in terms of exposure, how does one get exposed to lead?
Right. So lead you can be exposed to lead through contact with the soil. 90% of the exposure is through the soil. One of the major sources is used lead acid batteries. 75% of your car battery is made up of lead. And so when it reaches its shelf life, what happens is that the lead in the battery is recycled. And in the process, if it's not done well, it pollutes the environment. Now, once the lead is deposited in the soil, it remains there until it is removed. So that's one of the major sources. Secondly, through those who work in the e-waste cycling or these scrap pickers can accidentally come in contact of this lead. Again, we are talking about, I think a research that we did last year revealed that 77% of locally fabricated cookware had higher levels of lead concentrations. We also went further to do a market survey of some of the locally fabricated cookwares. So you can potentially be
cookware, the things we eat from.
What you guys popularly call it, are they saying?
Right.
Locally manufactured ones.
It has a large deposit of lead.
Lead concentrations in them. And so we can't contract this.
So therefore, eating from such cookware can endanger your life.
Definitely, especially with the locally fabricated ones. We want to make emphasis. We don't want to create panic. It's not all of them. It's the locally fabricated ones. Extensive work has been done in that area, and we're still engaging authorities that matters to do a lot of work. I must say that public lead poisoning is a public health issue. I was in your studio here, I think a few months back, and we put out some statistics. We've done some study that shows that 53.7% of children that were surveyed in Greater Accra, Ashanti, and that of northern regions have higher blood lead levels, which is cause for concern. We have been engaging, since then I've been engaging authorities. The EPA, for example, have done remarkably well. Once we presented our study, we, together with UNICEF and Ghana Health Service, put together an action plan to, call on the Ministry of Health to do some urgent work in that area.
About it.
And I'm happy to say that we recently presented the action plan to the minister before he exited, and I think he has asked the
new one.
Yeah, no, the one who just exited. But he has asked us to meet the ministerial technical team,
right,
to look at the plans we have recommended for immediate review and implementation.
All right. I know that lead poisoning is also very pronounced in mining areas, especially those into illegal mining. Exactly. But ahead of the International Women's Day, what is Pure F doing to raise more awareness, and how are you going about it?
Yeah, so granting us opportunity to be on your show is one of the media engagement. You have a lot of mileage, and so we are calling on people that matters to join us to advocate for lead prevention, because its consequences in maternal health is really serious. We are also been granted permission to engage the maternity ward of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital in Rich here to educate the mothers of the effect of lead poisoning and what it does to them, their unborn babies, and the children in general. And also, we are also having a DEBA and a Shamai. Fetal line is one of the most polluted areas when it comes to lead pollution. So we're engaging the community there. We are collaborating with EPA in Tema and also Ghana Health Service to educate the population about the dangers of lead poisoning on maternal health.
And we'll have our camera follow you tomorrow as we mark the day. Thank you very much, Esmond Kwanzaa, for coming through. And the issue is about lead poisoning and the dangers that are inherent in this particular area. Well, that's our show this Tuesday afternoon ahead of Ghana's 67th Independence Anniversary taking place in the Eastern Regional Capital, Koforidua. But for more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. Some of the stories making rounds: Parliament dragged to Supreme Court over anti-LGBTQ+ bill. There's also the Minister Designate for Tourism, his comments on the bill that was just passed by Parliament. If you log on to our website, myjoyonline.com, you have more stories there. My name is Elton Brobe. You have a great